My sister's divorce didn't just end her marriage. It ended my peace. I still remember the night my phone rang at 2:17 a.m. I was half asleep, tangled in my sheets, my mind floating somewhere between dreams and deadlines. When I saw my father's name flashing on the screen, my chest tightened. Dad never called this late, unless something was wrong. "Hello," I whispered. "She's coming to your house tomorrow," he said. No greeting, no explanation. "Who?" I asked, already knowing the answer. "Your sister, Melissa." I sat up. What happened? A pause, then heavy and final. "She's getting divorced." Those words should have made me feel sympathy, maybe sadness, maybe concern. Instead, I felt dread. Because in my family, nothing ever happened without becoming my responsibility. Melissa was older than me by 4 years. Growing up, she was the golden child, the pretty one, the popular one, the one who married young into money while I stayed behind, buried in books and part-time jobs. When she married Ryan, my parents acted like she'd won the lottery. "He's an investment banker," Mom used to brag to neighbors. "She'll never struggle like some people," Dad would add, glancing at me. Some people meant me. I paid my way through college, took student loans, worked nights, built my career brick by brick in a country that never promised anything but exhaustion in exchange for opportunity. Melissa, on the other hand, floated. And now she was falling. She arrived the next afternoon with 3 suitcases, 2 designer handbags, and a face swollen from crying, or maybe from anger. I opened the door, forcing a smile. "Hey." She walked in without looking at me, dropped her bags in the living room, and collapsed onto my couch like she owned it. "I can't believe this happened to me," she said. "No hello, no thank you." I closed the door slowly. "What exactly happened?" I asked. She laughed bitterly. "Men are trash, that's what happened." Later, I found out the truth wasn't that simple. Ryan hadn't cheated. He hadn't abused her. He hadn't abandoned her. Melissa had drained their joint savings, maxed out credit cards, and refused to work, then blamed him when the money ran out. But none of that mattered. Because to my parents, Melissa was still the victim. That evening, my father called again. "You need to take care of her," he said. I leaned against the kitchen counter, phone pressed to my ear. "She's staying here temporarily. I'm helping. What more do you want?" "Financially," he replied. "Emotionally, everything." I felt something snap. "Dad, she's 36. She's fragile right now." "And I'm not," I asked quietly. Silence. Then his voice hardened. "You're strong. You can handle it." There it was. The sentence that had defined my entire life. "You're strong, so suffer quietly." Days turned into weeks. Melissa slept until noon, cried loudly at night, ordered takeout on my credit card, and complained constantly about how unfair life was. She never cleaned, never contributed, never asked if I was okay. One afternoon, I came home from work exhausted to find her on a video call, laughing. "Oh, my sister. Yeah, she's letting me stay with her. She's got money," she said casually. I froze. Letting me. Got money. That night, I checked my bank statements. Thousands gone. Groceries, rideshares, online shopping. All charged to the card I'd once let her borrow, just in case. I confronted her. "You said it was an emergency card," she snapped. "Why are you acting like I robbed you?" "Because you did." But I didn't say it. Yet. The real blow came a week later. My parents came over. They didn't bring food. They didn't bring help. They brought expectations. Dad sat across from me, hands folded like he was negotiating a business deal. "Melissa needs support," he said. "She has support," I replied. "She's living here rent-free." "That's not enough." Mom sighed dramatically. "Your sister has no income, no stability." "So," I asked. "So you'll send her a monthly allowance, Dad said. I laughed, actually laughed. You're joking. I'm serious. How much? 5,000 a month, he said without blinking. The room went silent. That's more than my mortgage, I said slowly. Dad leaned forward. You don't have kids, you don't have a husband. What else are you spending money on? That's when I realized something terrifying. In their eyes, my life had no value unless it was used to fund someone else. I stood up. No, I said. Mom gasped like I'd slapped her. Dad's face darkened. What did you say? I said no, I won't do it. You owe this family, he snapped. For what? I asked. For surviving on my own. You wouldn't be where you are without us. I looked at Melissa. She was watching quietly, arms crossed, eyes calculating. I finally understood. This wasn't about helping her. This was about controlling me. That night, after everyone left, I sat alone in the dark. Angry, hurt, awake. And for the first time, I stopped asking myself why they treated me this way. Instead, I asked a better question. What would happen if I stopped letting them? That was the night my revenge began. Not loud. Not messy. Not emotional. Cold. Calculated. Legal. And devastating. The next morning, I didn't confront anyone. I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I did something far more dangerous. I stayed quiet. Silence has always scared my family more than anger. When I didn't call my parents back. When I didn't bring up money. When I treated Melissa like a temporary guest instead of a tragedy, they noticed. Melissa noticed first. You're acting weird, she said one afternoon, sprawled across my couch again. Am I replied calmly, typing on my laptop. You're not asking how I'm feeling anymore. I looked up. You never asked how I was feeling. She rolled her eyes. Don't make this about you. But I already had. Just not in the way she expected. That week, I met with a lawyer. Not because I was afraid. Because I was ready. I brought everything. Bank statements, messages, call logs, credit card records. The lawyer skimmed through them, eyebrows slowly rising. She's been financially exploiting you, he said. And my parents, I asked. He leaned back. They're pressuring you to commit financial self-harm. You have no legal obligation to support an adult sibling. I smiled. That was all I needed. Step 1, I could access. Melissa's card stopped working the next day. She stormed into my room, furious. My card declined at Sephora. I canceled it, I said. Her face twisted. You can't do that. I can, it's my account. She stared at me like I'd betrayed her. After everything I've been through. I didn't raise my voice. After everything I've paid for. She screamed, she cried, she called Mom. Exactly as planned. Step 2, I let them talk. My phone exploded with missed calls. My father left voicemails filled with disappointment and anger. You're selfish. You've changed. You're tearing this family apart. I saved every message. Because words become weapons when documented. Step 3, I set the trap. One evening, I told Melissa calmly, you should apply for spousal support. She scoffed. Ryan won't give me a dime. Unless you prove financial dependency, I said. Her eyes lit up. What do I need? I shrugged. Proof you can't support yourself, expenses, no income. She smiled. That's easy. She had no idea she was signing her own downfall. A week later, Ryan's lawyer contacted me. He'd received documents claiming Melissa was completely dependent, with records showing thousands spent monthly. Spent from my accounts. They wanted statements. I gave them everything, including proof that Melissa had access to funds, housing, and support, just not from Ryan. The case collapsed. Melissa lost her leverage. Ryan walked free. And Melissa, she lost credibility in court. That's when things turned ugly. She screamed that I sabotaged her, that I was jealous, that I wanted her to fail. My parents showed up unannounced that night. Dad didn't even sit down. "You embarrassed her," he said. "No," I replied. "She embarrassed herself." Mom cried, "How could you do this to your sister?" I finally snapped. "How could you do this to me for 30 years? They froze. I stood tall. "I paid my way. I built my life, and you decided my reward was becoming her bank." Dad pointed at me. "Family sacrifices." "So do parasites," I said quietly. The room went dead silent. The next day, I served Melissa a formal notice. 30 days to move out. No extensions. No negotiations. She laughed until she saw the lawyer's letter. "You wouldn't," she whispered. "I already did." She moved back in with my parents 2 weeks later. And suddenly, they didn't want to support her either. Funny how generosity disappears when the bill comes due. Months passed. The guilt faded. The noise stopped. My bank account recovered. My peace returned. I heard through relatives that Melissa was struggling, and my parents were heartbroken. But no one called me anymore. And that was the greatest victory of all. Because I didn't just take revenge. I took my life back. I learned something powerful. Being strong doesn't mean being used. Being kind doesn't mean being silent. And family doesn't mean obligation. It means respect. And if they can't give you that, you owe them nothing. Not even forgiveness. The end.